I, teen female, grew up without a father for a long time. It was just my mom and me. Last year, my mom got married to my stepdad, Brad. Brad has 2 kids, Tessa, female 26, and Jake, male 18. My dad passed away shortly after I was born, leaving my mom in mountains of debt. The one thing she refused to sell was her wedding dress. She always talked about how it was her dream for me to get married wearing her dress or at least her veil. It's a gorgeous, simple white dress with a long lace veil. My dad had the dress handmade and designed for my mom before their wedding. When my mom remarried, she still refused to sell the dress and got a new dress for her wedding to Brad. She always talks about that dress being mine. Tessa got engaged last week and was so excited to show off her ring and talk about her wedding plans. Tessa knows how much the dress means to me, so while talking about her wedding with my mom and Brad, she threw out the idea of wearing the dress my mom saved for me at her wedding because it'll save us so much money. My mom said she wasn't comfortable with that since she was saving the dress for me, but Brad said my mom should agree since she now has 2 wedding dresses and I can wear the other one. Tessa also pointed out that the dress would need many alterations to fit me since I'm much shorter than my mom and I'm not as thin as my mom. However, Tessa also said it would be years before I'd need it, so it wouldn't be an issue. My mom was on the fence about it, but Brad was all for it and pulled the dress out of storage and handed it to Tessa. I freaked out and grabbed the dress out of her hands. I told her she wasn't allowed to wear my mom's dress and that she could get her own mom's dress or buy her own, but she wasn't allowed to wear the dress my mom was saving for me. I locked myself and the dress in my room. All day, Mom has been texting me and coming to the door asking me to come out and talk to her and Brad. Brad has been calling me spoiled and selfish, saying that I'm acting like a huge brat. I just can't let some stranger wear the only thing of my dad I have left. I feel bad. Tessa is really upset. She's been crying and texting me, asking me to apologize and give her the dress back. I can't tell if I'm in the wrong. Brad and Tessa think I'm being an idiot, but my stepbrother and friends agree that I should stand my ground. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You should not apologize at all. You did nothing wrong. Your mom has told you for years that the dress is for you to wear when you get married. Your mom wore a different dress when she married Brad, so his daughter can wear that one. So why does it have to be your dress she wants to wear? And honestly, if I were your mom, I would be considering a divorce. Your mother's new husband is a bully, and his adult daughter is the spoiled, selfish brat in this story. To Tessa, it's just a pretty dress that she wants, and as far as Brad is concerned, Tessa should have what she wants, regardless of what his wife, the owner of the dress, prefers. Your stepbrother has seen this happen many times in the past, hence is supporting you. The fact that Brad is steamrolling your mom into something she really doesn't want to do is a very bad sign. Tessa is asking me to apologize and give her the dress back. What? There's no giving it back, it was never hers. Brad took it over your mom's objections and you reclaimed it before anyone could get the idea that it was okay. Brad owes you and your mom big-time apologies, and Tessa can go pound sand. Sneak the dress out to someone you can trust to hold on to it for you. Your mum needs to take the lead here and tell them no. My brother is going through a divorce right now. He's been living with my mom, dad and me, and my parents helped him come up with the money to get a lawyer, so I know it's been a rough time for him. When he met with the lawyer for the first time, he discovered that you couldn't get alimony in a divorce if there was infidelity. As in, the law forbids and there's no exception. So it doesn't matter if you stayed home with your kid for over 20 years like my brother or never worked. My sister-in-law is an architect and she makes bank. My brother thought he would get alimony, but he was dumb enough to cheat on her. He also found out that he couldn't claim any part of the house because she owned it outright before they married. Both of these he wasn't expecting, and he was upset when he got back from his first visit with the lawyer. When he told me the law would deny him alimony, I laughed, and my parents chewed me out over it. It was probably a bad reaction, but he was so confident he would be able to get a big payment and half or all of the house. Instead, he will get some money from their savings, but nowhere near what he thought, and most of it will get eaten up by legal fees. He's been knocked down several pegs and completely screwed himself over. Am I the idiot because I laughed? Was it like kicking him when he was down? He has no work history or money of his own to fall back on. I know it's been rough for him, and he's also struggling with what to tell my niece. It was almost an involuntary reaction because I couldn't believe it. My niece doesn't have a medical condition. She graduated college in June and she's just turned 23 years old. My brother stayed home since she was born and she just moved out this summer. Not the idiot. He had a life where his wife provided the home and the income, and he decided to destroy it by cheating on his wife and expected to walk away with her hard-earned money. His pouting over the reality of dealing with the consequences of his stupidity is laughable. But what's he been doing with his free time since years ago when your niece started being a functional adult? He cheated on his wife and then was looking forward to forcing her to pay him alimony every month and wanted half of the house she bought before the marriage. He realizes his side piece will leave once she learns he has no money. LOL. Your brother is a no-good, gold-digging, scummy cheater. No offense. I'm actually amazed that your parents are enabling your brother by providing money for lawyer fees instead of chewing him out for being lazy and for his infidelity. Do they really want their cheating son, who destroyed their granddaughter's family, to rob and further hurt their ex-daughter-in-law? I'm guessing they're afraid he'll move in with them, so they tried to get him a good lawyer, hoping he'd get enough money to set himself up on his own. He deserves everything that's happening to him. Look at him, reaping the consequences for his gold-digging, cheating actions. Boo-hoo-hoo. I won't explain much about my daughter's choice because it's ultimately not mine. My wife and I have a daughter, Jay, 23, who just graduated college a year ago. My wife and I came from a poor background and worked our butts off to give our child everything she would need. She's a good kid, smart, kind, and polite. She got a full ride to a good school and moved away. 2 months ago, she called us to tell us she was pregnant with no father in sight. My wife flipped on her, full of exaggeration and criticism. She thought our kid was throwing her life away because my daughter was eager to keep the baby, and my wife wasn't okay with this. She asked if she could come back home for a while, work locally, and overall just be around us because she felt scared and alone in her big city and wanted to spend her pregnancy with us. My daughter didn't use much of her college fund, barely 18 to 25%, and had good savings. She's also the kind of kid who's always helped around the house, so I said yes. My wife didn't have much problem with this, but ever since our daughter came back, my wife has been passive-aggressive at best. Awful comments about how she messed up her life, how naive she is for thinking she can keep going with a kid, how the beginning of a career is the most important thing, and she just ruined it. She also doesn't have any kindness for our kid, making too much noise at 5 or 6 a.m. to wake her up, not lending her a car when asked to do quick runs to the store, etc. She's just being mean. My daughter sucks it up because she thinks she owes us something for letting her stay here. Yesterday, my wife just went over the top. My daughter found a job. She's doing work from home at the moment due to her pregnancy, 4 months, and was excitedly telling us that after the birth, she wants to get an apartment nearby and maybe raise my grandkid here. My wife just snorted and said that if she'd already messed up her life, the least she could do was the best for the kid and move somewhere better and maybe do it now. My daughter cried because she was basically getting kicked out, and my wife tried to minimize her feelings. So I told my wife to leave my house because I was done with her mean teenage behavior. She said I couldn't kick her out, but I could because the house is not marital property. So she left, and my in-laws are coming at me because everyone thinks she's right. Not the idiot. Your daughter is lucky to have you in her corner. Your wife is absolutely ridiculous and disrespectful. I hope she realizes she will never meet her grandchild after all this. You are protecting your child. All your daughter is doing is looking to her parents for support, and her own mother is being so cruel. My daughter did much the same thing as yours, OP. She was young and alone and came home to us determined to make the situation a good thing. Her son was born 7 months later. She's since moved out, married, had another child and gotten her master's. She works in her chosen field and makes a pretty penny, and my grandchildren have been raised beautifully. The point is that she hasn't messed up her life. She's taking a different path than the one your wife wanted, that's all. I don't really understand why the mom is so angry. Her daughter is 23, out of college with savings and leftover college funds, and has a job. She only doesn't have a partner, but why does she even need that? Plenty of single moms are raising kids with even less than this 23-year-old. Honestly, so weird, and this reaction feels way over the top. I think it's because the mom had dreams that her daughter's life was going to be better than hers. She would have a successful career and live in a big city and escape the town where they live, and now her dreams have been shattered and she doesn't know how to deal with it. I suspect she may have some regrets in her life that she doesn't want her daughter to experience, or she's not ready to be a grandma. I, 41 female, am married to my husband, 42, and we have 2 kids, our son, tween, who we will call Zach, and daughter, young tween, who we will call Lizzie, not their real names for privacy reasons. Lizzie loves the video game Minecraft, and has played it nearly every day since we bought it for her on Xbox for her birthday a year ago. She's a super artsy kid and loves to create extravagant buildings and structures in Minecraft, and she's shown me her amazing creations many times. 2 days ago, she was playing downstairs, and Zach asked if he could play with her. Lizzie didn't let him play even though we have 2 Xbox controllers, and Zach was very angry for not letting her play. I don't know why Lizzie didn't let him play. I was in the kitchen upstairs. Yesterday, Lizzie started screaming and crying downstairs when my husband and I were still sleeping. She always wakes up early to play, but her world with all of her creations is gone, and she told us between sobs that she can't get it back, and she thinks that Zach deleted it last night. When Zach woke up, I asked him if he'd deleted Lizzie's world, and he started laughing and said she should have let him play with her. I was livid. Lizzie loves that game so much, and her creations were beautiful, and now they're gone forever. Not to mention that she's devastated that the world she spent over a year on is gone forever. I took my son's new phone away. We just bought it for him this month for his birthday. My son is acting like this is the end of the world. He says he needs his phone because everybody else at school has one and he needs to fit in. He's starting middle school this week and claims he doesn't want to be a social outcast. I told him he could have his phone back in a month and that not having a phone wouldn't make him an outcast, but he refused and wants it now. My husband thinks that taking away his phone is going too far and that Lizzie's game being gone isn't that big of a deal. But by that logic, isn't Zach's phone being gone not that big of a deal either? I don't know what to do. It's been over 24 hours and Zach won't talk to me, and Lizzie is still moody. So, Reddit, can I get some advice? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and hold your ground. I'm a parent who's skeptical of video games, but Minecraft is different. What your son did is the equivalent of destroying a carefully created painting made over several months, and he laughs about it? Horrible. It would be best if you kept his phone as long as it takes your daughter to rebuild her world. Fair is fair. I'm beyond disgusted that he has no regrets about destroying something she was extremely passionate about. Instead, he went way too far and didn't even care. That's an excellent idea. A truly, truly excellent idea. I would just add to it, though, until it takes her to rebuild her world, and he's also remorseful for what he did. Just being punished without having any remorse accomplishes nothing and just makes him feel like a victim. He needs to understand what he did was wrong, and until he's sincerely remorseful, he shouldn't get his phone back. OP's husband should spend a few hours with Lizzie too and try to build a world himself. That would give him a taste of what has been lost and the time and effort put into building her world. Your son and husband are something else. Holy cow. Zach's cruelty will make him a social outcast if unchecked. If he's worried about losing friends that approve of this behavior, he shouldn't be. Find out why your husband thinks your daughter's devastation isn't a big deal. I, 28 female, am a single mom of 3 kids. I met my daughter when I was 22, volunteering in a mentor program. Her bio mom asked if I take her in for a while when she was having a hard time, so I agreed to become her foster parent. Then, 2 years ago, we got the paperwork together for me to become her official guardian. I plan to adopt when the kiddo is old enough to tell me that's what she wants. Last year, I got a phone call from my daughter's caseworker, informing me that her bio mom had another child and wanted him to be placed with his sister, so I took him in too. I didn't plan on having any other children, but I met someone, it didn't last, and the long story short is that I have a first grader, a toddler, and I'm 25 weeks. My sister Bree, 34, always loved hanging out with my kids whenever she had spare time. She's been struggling with infertility since she and her husband started trying for a baby 8 years ago, and I can tell how badly she wants to be a mom. I really do hope that someday it does happen for her, because it's all she's ever wanted. Since I announced my pregnancy, though, Bree has been kind of distant. I thought that maybe it was just life stuff or I was being overly emotional due to hormones, so I didn't really press her on it or anything and went about things as usual. Our mom invited us all to dinner the other night, so I got my kiddos settled with a sitter and drove to my mom's place. Dinner went mostly fine, but Bree kept giving me looks every time someone brought up the pregnancy, and towards the end of the night, she asked why I even adopted 2 children if I clearly had no trouble making a baby of my own. I told her that when I started fostering my oldest, it was just to give her a safe place to live until her mom could get things sorted out. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Now her brother is with me too. I love my children and I'm happy to be their mom, but it wasn't my intention in the beginning to adopt via foster care. I wanted their bio mom to work things out and my heart genuinely hurts for her because she couldn't do that. Bree said it feels like I'm rubbing my kids in her face. She told me that it isn't fair that I basically had 2 kids fall into my lap and then decided to be reckless and get knocked up too, all while she's been trying for years to have a child with no luck. She said it's cruel and unfair that I took 2 babies from the system that could have gone to parents who deserved them, all while being able to have one on my own easily. I ended up telling her that while it sucks, it's not my fault that some people want kids and can't have them, and that her infertility baggage isn't really my issue. Our mother asked me to leave and the next day called me to tell me that I was unnecessarily cruel to my sister when I knew what she was going through. Now I don't know if what I said was out of line. Not the idiot. Sis, why haven't you adopted any children since you clearly have trouble making a baby of your own? That would be unnecessarily harsh, but I have zero sympathies for people who act like the universe owes them a biological child. As an adoptee, I kind of wish this had been said. While children in the system aren't exactly an infinite thing, there are so many who need homes, especially sibling replacements. But something tells me that she's obsessed with the idea of a baby and not actually with providing a safe home to children, and the fact that she's weaponizing OP's children against her is so gross. If she cared about children in foster care, she would become a foster parent. This is purely about her. What are you supposed to do? Stop making fertility choices just because it makes her feel bad? The point of fostering is to give children a home, not to fill a gap in an infertile couple's life. This, right here. I would also add that 2 kids fell into your lap because instead of being wrapped up in your own life and problems, you were out in the world trying to help less fortunate people and improve their lives. So many of us could take a lesson from that, including, perhaps, your sister.